What is going on, you lovely people of Discord and YouTube? In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to draw zones effectively, specifically supply and demand zones. You can really call them whatever the fuck you want. Some people call them support and resistance zones. Some people call them supply and demand zones. Some people call them order blocks. Some people call them a whole bunch of different things. At the end of the day, it's all the same shit. I'm going to show you how I use them to take trades and make money. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So we're going to be specifically talking about supply and demand in this video. It's mainly what I trade along with price action. Now, like I said earlier, supply and demand is just an interchangeable term. You really can call it whatever you want. There's just a whole bunch of different names out there. The way that I do it is on the 5 minute, right? The only time frame that I actually draw my zones on is the 5 minute time frame. You know, pretty much you can see this morning what I had done was, if we come back to replay right here, you can see that I had drawn my zone at this high right here and at this low right here. You can also see, if I zoom out a little bit, that this high up here also corresponds with these relative equal highs up here. You could technically say that's a little head and shoulders pattern as well, but pretty much the only thing that you're looking for when you're drawing at a zone, or what I'm looking for, is significant highs and lows. Now, how do I know exactly what a significant high is? If I'm looking at this chart on the 15-minute time frame, now you can draw your zones out on any time frame. I personally take my trades, meaning I actually execute my entries on the 2 minute and the 1 minute. So I feel like anything over 5 minute, drawing my zones on anything higher than the 5 minute time frame is going to make my zones too big. So there is a little bit of work that you're going to need to do yourself in order to kind of figure out the size zones that you want to be playing off of, or the time frame. It's going to vary for everyone depending on how you like to trade. I like to personally, I consider myself more of a scalper. I'm usually in a trade for no longer than 10 minutes, and I have a 30-point stop loss and a 45-point take profit. So obviously I don't want to be marking out my zones on the 4-hour time frame, because if I was marking out my zones on the 4-hour time frame, they would be about 70 to 80 points big, and I don't want to be trading on the 1 minute time frame in a 70 to 80 point zone, right? If I'm trading on the 1 minute time frame, I would like to be trading out of 20 point zones, or this one up here is 30 points. So you kind of just have to make sure that everything is kind of just in a respective size, if that makes sense. I don't know. That's pretty much about the best way I can explain it. I hope that makes sense. But to be honest, guys, drawing your zones out and drawing zones that work is really not that complicated. I feel like a lot of people tend to overcomplicate it, and pretty much all it is for me is significant highs and lows. Now, what I consider significant is something like this and something like this right down here, right? Do we have a high? We have a high right here. We have a high right here. Those are pretty much, we'll say those are relative equal highs. They're only about 7 points away from each other. We'll say those are relative equal highs. However, that is not a significant point of reversal on the 5 minute time frame for me. Maybe on a smaller time frame, maybe on the 3 minute or even the 1 minute, you could say that that's a significant zone. But for me, I mark my zones out on the 5 minute time frame. I'm kind of zooming out to about here, and I'm looking at where are levels where price has respected multiple times, or just it's a significant level, right? I think that this zone up here is very significant because we rejected out off of this area once, 2, 3, 4. We'll just count that as one. So we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4. And then right here, we even came out of it, came back into it, kind of, and tested again. But we'll just say 1, 2, 3, 4 times, right? That is a significant area, to me, and I play continuation. So in my case, I'm going to look for a break and a hold above this area, and then a little bit of a retest, and then to show some strength out of it, and then I'll look to play long. Some people like to play rejections out of their zone. One thing I used to do was look for either direction. So once we tapped into here, I would either take shorts off of it or play longs if we closed and held above it. Now I only look to play with the direction of the trend and play continuation setups, because I found personally that playing reversals out of my zones, I was getting stopped out too often and I was losing a lot of trades. Some people like to do it. I just personally don't, and never found a way for it to really work for me. If you can, then you should definitely do it. This zone down here, now, this kind of contradicts everything up here that I just said, because I said you kind of want to find an area where there was multiple areas of rejection, but right here, this was only one. So how did I find out this zone? Well, you can see that right here, we're kind of in this zone, right? right? Or this range, if you will, from here to here. It's about a 140 point range. This is the bottom of that range, right? If I extend this back, it doesn't really hit anything. You know, right here, you could kind of argue that we had some wicks above it. Even though we broke above it, you still could make that point that right here, it kind of went from being a zone of rejection to a zone of support, or just supply or demand, whatever in the world you want to call it again. I had this zone drawn out because mostly I saw that we were in this range. I pretty much had the top of the range marked out, the bottom of the range marked out. And what I was looking for was either a close below here and a hold to take shorts, or a close up here above and a hold to take longs on the smaller time frames, because obviously I'm on the 5-minute time frame here. I'm trying to kind of explain to you guys the way that I draw zones, but honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, you know, I didn't really have a script for this video. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it, it's really simple. Don't overcomplicate it. What I'm going to do is remove all my drawings, and we're going to go back to a random day in the market. I'm going to show you guys how I would have drawn my zones, because I feel like that will be good. We're just going to go to Wednesday the 22nd. So this was last week. Okay, so 9:30 a.m. market opens right here. Been one of the days last week where we had absolutely horrendous price action. So yeah, look, it's already, oh my God, I'm actually fucking trolling. This is 9:30 p.m. Holy shit. No wonder those zones were so dog shit. I was fucking looking at 9:30 p.m. instead of a.m. All right, well, anyway, with that being said, 9:30 a.m. is actually right here. Okay, we go on to the 5-minute time frame. We'll replay back to here. Where am I looking to mark out my zones? Man, that was actually painful to do. I just spent the last 20 minutes explaining that, and I realized once I started playing the market that I was looking at 9:30 p.m. instead of a.m. But this is how I would draw my zones on just a random day. On the 5-minute time frame, once again, what I'm always looking for is that imbalance like I just mentioned, okay? Right here, I see above this high. Instantly, I see this. This is something that sticks out to me. I'm going to mark it like that. That zone is about 11 points big. We could probably make it a little bigger than that. We'll probably go to like right there. Say I go on to the 15-minute, or maybe even the 1 hour. Okay, well, just pretend this candle isn't there, because that would be the candle kind of in the future. So we have a lot of imbalance to the upside right here, as you can see above this high. Yeah, above this high. And then we have this whole area right here worth of imbalance, right? If I come back onto the 1-minute time frame, what else can I see? If I go back onto the 5-minute, I can see obviously right here we are in an obvious uptrend. I hope that you guys can all realize that this is a uptrend when price is moving up. So as far as a low goes, I probably would put my zone somewhere like right here, because if we were to come and break below this low right here, that I would probably be sold on shorts. Now, the reason is this is a very clean uptrend, right? I'm going to even say it out to you guys. We have a low here, and then we have a high here, and then we have a higher low, and then a higher high, and then a higher low, and then a higher high, and then there's a high right there too, and then we have a higher low, and we have a higher high. You guys can see that this is just a very clean downtrend, but pretty much a break of structure would occur if we were to close below a significant previous low, which is right here, right? So these are probably the two zones I would have marked out. The way that I draw my zones is I usually try to look for one above where price is when it opens, and one where one is below where price opens to actually take a trade out of. So boom, I have my two zones right here. We're going to play, okay, price. Okay, I did that way too fast because I actually would have taken a trade right there. Okay, anyway, price immediately opens and we rip above this zone. Now, if I come out onto the, was I drop back onto the 1 minute? Yeah, so if I'm on the 1 minute now here, if I actually look and see how that candle closed, you can see that we closed above this high right here all the way back, and then we are now in this imbalance. And I am looking to play longs to play with this uptrend that we started on that smaller time frame, which is the 1 minute. I'm going to zoom back in. Boom, we closed above our zone. Now I'm going to wait for a retest because right here, I like to have a 30-point SL personally. So I always want my SL to be below my zone. So I'd want to ideally be filled probably like right there. But ideally, I'm going to wait for a retest of my zone. So let's see if we get it. Okay, there it is right there. There's the retest of our zone. Now, after seeing the retest of my zone is when I'm going to actually look to take this trade. I probably would have taken this on this candle right here, actually, because that is, although that candle closed red, it is very, very bullish. Okay, that's pretty much about the most bullish red candle that you can have. I'm also going to find 5-minute Hikinashi. So I use this for confluence as well. You can see right here, 5-minute Hikinashi was green. You can see if I hover my cursor here, you can see that second candle after open was green. I'm going to take a stab at longs right here at that close of that candle after a beautiful rejection out of our zone. See, guys, this is exactly how our zones want to work, right? We broke above and we retested it, and you can see, look how beautifully, I just want to point out to you guys for a second, look how beautifully that we rejected out of it. And then even right here, this candle as well, right? Look, we tapped into it right there, and then we were able to wick off of it again. That is a very good sign for me that I want to take longs, because this is showing me now that we have closed above this high. We're holding, we retested it, and now we are starting to push back up off of it. So what originally was a level that we were pushing down off of, we have now been able to break above it, come back to it, we're testing it again, and then we are able to use it as a launch pad, right? Fortnite reference. So you know, before we were getting held down by it, and now we are able to break above, retest, launch pad. I'm gonna take longs, 30-point SL for me, 45 point TP. I can already tell by a 5-minute Hikinashi on the right hand side that this trade ended up hitting right there. Okay, this was a little bit of a longer trade. Looks like it would have been about 15 minutes, which is pretty long for the way that I trade. But boom, that thing would have hit. Now, next thing I'm going to look for, if there was any other zones on the 5-minute that I would have marked out, probably not, because we're just kind of in no man's land now. Honestly, at this point, after taking that one dub, I probably would have been done on the day, unless we were to drop back all the way down here. Or maybe I would even look at a short entry if we close below this zone right here, but ideally I'd want us to see us come down here. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, nothing. 10:30 rolls around, I would have been done trading by then. But you can see just perfectly, that's a prime example of a beautiful zone. We retested it multiple times, actually. Right here, we retested it again on the 1-minute time frame. I'll go on the 2-minute for you guys to see as well. Just look at how beautifully we closed above it, and then we're able to retest it. We're wicking off of it, showing some bullish signal. 5-minute Hikinashi is green, and we're just going to ride out that uptrend, right? Now, is this going to work 100% of the time? No. Okay, I took this exact setup today, pretty much where I price closed above my zone, held, we retested it, we showed some nice strength back out of it to go up. 5-minute Hikinashi was red, everything lined up, and I ended up getting stopped out. Does it happen? Yes. If you trade this way, I bet you will have a positive win rate like I do, and if you're also trading a 1.5 RR or even a 2 RR, which I have noticed that a lot of my trades have been hitting 2 RR, so maybe I'll increase my TP a little bit, but 45 points has been working for me a lot recently, so I think I'm just going to stick with it for now. All right, we're going to replay one more day and then show you guys how I would draw out my zones. But that was a great example. I really love that day. And what I'm not going to do this time is go to 9:30 p.m. instead of a.m. Okay, we're on the 5-minute here. Let's mark out our zones. First zone I notice, I'm going to have to zoom out quite a bit for this because we don't really have anything. First zone I notice is this high right here. However, you can see that we're already above that right here. However, I probably still would give that a mark out. That's a pretty significant high right there. Probably would have that marked out. Down here, that's 240 points away. We have a lot of imbalance to the downside. I will also probably just mark out this high up here as well. Now let's go on to the 1-minute time frame and see what we can do. Now market opens, and okay, market actually, it was just because I was on the 5-minute time frame with the replay that it looks a little weird. So boom, market opens on this candle right here. We have this zone drawn out from that 5-minute high. Sometimes it's going to happen where you're going to have to scroll a little bit back to find that area, and that's totally fine. You know, right here you can see there's nothing really to mark out. I kind of had to zoom out and scroll back a little bit to find that area to mark out. That's totally fine. Then I had this high marked out as well. Boom. Anyway, price opens in between both zones. Let's see what happens. Once again, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be waiting for a close below here and a retest to go short, or we're going to be waiting for a close above here and a retest to go long. I can already see a sneak preview of what this day looked like by the right-hand side 5-minute Hikinashi, but anyway, we'll just see what happens. We started to reject a little bit off of our zone right here, so that's already a good sign that this is a good zone, right? Just by that, I'm already giving myself a little bit of a pat on the back for drawing out this zone, because clearly right here you can see how that already worked, how we came down into it, price dumped all the way down. As soon as we tap into this zone, what happens? We come back up, but then we start to dump. We dump through. Now I am looking for a short. We close below, and I'm looking for a retest. We got a retest right here. 2-minute time frame, also close below. 3-minute time frame, also close below. Very bearish candle right there. Also 5-minute candle, also close below. Very bearish candle. Very much so liking shorts. What else do I notice? I'm very much so liking shorts at this. Wow, because wow, we have a lot of imbalance to the downside. 5-minute time frame right here. Imbalance. What do you know? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5-minute candles in a row. Down here we had green. Pretty much just a straight green rip up here. If I show you on the 15-minute, look at that imbalance. We have imbalance to the downside that we are looking to fill, in my opinion. So boom, I'm gonna look to take shorts here. Once again, I always like my TP to be not my TP, my SL to be above my zones, which is going to be right here. So I know that I need to get filled actually inside of my zone in order for my stop loss to be above this. So I can't fill right here. here, unfortunately, because my stop loss would be too big. So let's see if I can get something. This right here, we retest huge candle out. That is a very, very good short setup. However, my stop loss once again would be inside of the zone, which is not what I want. So I would have to wait for a little bit more of a retest again. We can end up coming back up to it. A little bit of rejection. I don't like that bottom wick. Let's see if we can get a more bearish candle. No, probably not. No, probably not. Okay, we're retesting again. Okay, right here. This looks really good. I don't think I'm gonna get filled still. You know what? Fuck it. We're gonna actually, if I saw this shit, I'm not gonna hold you guys. I'm probably taking that shit. Ends up hitting by it. Actually, I actually want to say this is the exact trade that I took, because I remember getting filled just barely, and then this thing ended up coming back down, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And then it ended up dumping. Jesus Christ, guys. This is what I meant about the bad price action, because holy shit, what the fuck am I even looking at right here? I want to say that I actually did take that exact same trade, which is very lucky because it barely got filled, and otherwise I would have got stopped out. Let me look on my YouTube channel, actually. Is it this? Yeah, okay, it's this. Okay, this is the trade I took, guys. Here, I'm going to show you. This is actually perfect. Okay, so I have my trade that I took right here on the right. Oh, shit. Not on the right-hand side. Okay, it's a little hard to see, but this is the same chart. Okay, now look at the zone that I had drawn out. What do you notice about the zone that I had drawn out? It's the exact same zone. It's literally the exact same zone. You can even see, look at these candles right here, right? Those two white candles right there, and then look at those two white candles right there. So that just goes to show, you know, how I've had so much experience drawing out these zones. I was able to just, you know, I drew out that exact same zone. It looks like I actually ended up getting in this trade here. Okay, I remember this. I ended up getting in this trade here. I ended up getting in this trade earlier at this close below, and then I ended up getting in like right here at this kind of momentum push and close below it. And I had my stop loss like up here, and I had my TP right there. And it looks like, yeah, I just barely got filled. If I do remember correctly, price came down to here on my trade of 8, and I didn't get filled, and I actually stopped myself out at break even. Shit actually ended up hitting TP right down here anyway. There's nothing you can do to beat bad price action. I mean, this just, I actually remember this day now that I'm looking at my channel. This was also before I switched my SL to 30 points and having a 45-point TP. Which, if I was looking, you know, looking back on this trade, I actually probably would have waited for this retest and then bang right there. Probably would have waited for a little pullback so I could get a better fill. Hopefully it would have filled up there. But on a day like this, I wouldn't have been surprised if I got stopped out just because of such bad price action. But you saw on a day like the second day that we replayed, or if you go through all my trade recaps, I trade pretty much the exact same thing every time. And you can just see how my zones are working every single time, right? You can see how every time, even on a day of bad price action, you can see right here, market open, we came down here and closed below, and we retested it, rejection, retest, rejection, retest, rejection, retest, rejection, retest, rejection. So this is a good zone. Now, once we got to like this point, I would probably get rid of this thing, and because it's just cooked. We started to close above and then below and then above, and then we just started chopping all around. But up until this point, I would say that this is a really good zone. And I would say that taking a short setup right around here was not a bad call at all. Price action was just absolutely fucking horrific. That's going to bring this video to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that I was able to kind of shine a light on zones for you guys. To be honest, I don't really like explaining exactly how I do things, because the truth is that everyone is going to do better from different things. Like, I don't want you guys to copy me exactly. I want you to take things away from me, from Steph, from Habibi. Steph says the same thing. I want you guys to be able to watch these videos, watch my recaps, watch my educational stuff, and take bits and pieces from them as just kind of general knowledge. I don't want you to go onto your chart and be like, okay, this is exactly how Tells, or this is exactly how Habibi drew his zone, and I need to do it too, and I need to take the exact entry, I need to have a 45-point TP and a 30-point SL. Like, no, like you have to backtest your own shit, figure out what works for you, because it really is different for everyone. I hope you guys did learn a thing or two from this. I feel like I'm not really the best at explaining stuff, and I sometimes talk too fast, so I'm sorry if it was kind of hard to follow, but my bottom line is, the thing that I want you guys to take away from this is, one, don't overcomplicate drawing your zones. Find significant highs and lows, and just in general, areas that price has respected, because if price has respected them before, it is likely, I won't say very likely, but it is likely that price will respect them again. And you can play out of these zones. Pretty much every highly profitable trader I know draws zones on their chart in some way, shape, or form. And it's because they work. And the market respects certain levels of previous price. If you look back onto the charts, you can see it happen time and time over again. And the areas that used to be areas where we reject out of, if like for this one example, we'll now flip to the opposite side and you can play out of them in the opposite direction. So with that being said, that's going to bring this video to an end. I love you guys so much. Make sure to subscribe to my channel as well as the podcast. Steph and I are literally about to record an episode after I wrap this video up. But with all that being said, I love you guys so much. Have an absolutely amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.